If you want to be an anomaly, you have to act like one. Like, people want all these special things to happen, but then they're acting like everybody else. I mean, like, it's just an incredible time. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing, pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic, winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. And so that's where we're at. Lack of interest in complaining is so high. And when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth, that's just data, that's reality. And yeah, I mean, it's just a very fun time to be alive. So much going on. The internet is starting to hit maturity. Look what we're doing right now. This right now, right, would have cost millions of dollars in production and distribution to have the amount of people who watch this. There's so many people that are talking shit about how big of an entrepreneur they're gonna be and how much they're gonna achieve, and they don't work on weekends. You know, I worked every Saturday of my 20s. And I talk to 20-year-old entrepreneurs every single day. Lately, I've been saying to them, this Saturday, you're gonna have more time off than I've had in my entire 20s on a Saturday. So before you tell me how you're gonna be bigger than me, start thinking about what you're actually doing.
Right.
So I think positivity and good is practical advice to building an empire, and I wanna be the poster child of the person that built the biggest, baddest empire and did it by being a good dude along the way. I plan to instill kindness into my kids. I plan on instilling perspective into my kids. I plan in instilling just being a good human being. I plan on making sure they don't use their parents' wealth and micro fame and leverage to impose on any other person. I'm petrified of that. If my kids try to punk their friends on my shit, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of them. That's just loser DNA. You didn't do that. So I won't be upset if they beat me, because they deserved it. But if they look at that and want to go the other way and give away all of mommy and daddy's money and be nonprofit kids and give it all away, great. I just want them to be all in on them, right? I don't need them to be an entrepreneur. I don't need them to make me proud. They don't need to go to Harvard. They don't need to do shit. They need to be themselves, all in, and they need to be kind, and I'm good. You're exactly right, man. I don't judge myself. I'm fully in love with myself. But I'm also fully in love with everybody else too, right? It's not like it goes both ways. I tell people to buy into me, that work for me, it's because I buy into them first. I don't need anybody to gain trust with me. It's there. I believe that the human race is so grossly underrated. We are good. Of course we have some bad. There's fucking 7 billion of us. But when you look at our net score, it's bonkers shit. Do you know how much damage we could be doing to each other on an hourly basis and we don't? We're still here. We won. We're the alpha being and we've figured out how to stay together. This is insane when you think about it. I'm such high energy. I think the thing I always enjoy when people get close to me and I'm looking at Dustin and Seth behind is there's incredible levels of confusion on the calmness and the ability to absorb, bad situations. And that has so much to do with personal life, right? Friends and family, I feel really good about it. I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of expectation I have of others. Doesn't mean I don't require any human being, but I'm incredibly compassionate, not just empathetic. And I think when you combine compassion and empathy, you get into a really zen-y, fun place. I find that, I've been really thinking this through. I'm oh, those two, because not only can I feel you, I was oh, this is a wild one. This is a very unhappy 25-year-old with a Tesla, a sick apartment in LA, an unlimited Uber, Equinox, but the subconscious is starting to take over and they realize their parents think they're losers. That's why they're paying for everything. And what I want to do is suffocate out all those other people and become the alpha of that entire world of people that are hoping and are desperate to look at me, and what I want to do is inspire two 14-year-old girls in Kansas City right now to build $1 billion company on having a bunch of employees hugging each other in the halls. I think that Steve Jobs came along, became an icon, but the sad part of that narrative was he did not treat his employees well. He became an icon, and the narrative became he got the most out of people by being a jerk, and that became romanticized. And a lot of people in Silicon Valley today run companies where they're mean because they think that's the right thing to do because they put Steve Jobs on a pedestal. I want my pedestal moment. I want to become that big, and what I want to come from that is that kids that aren't even born today think that they can build a $5 billion company and be a great guy or a great gal.